Hello everyone. I hope you guys, yes, you could hear me. I'm still checking everything here. I'm still getting the hang of all this, but I actually have been enjoying the fact that this makes me a little nervous right before going live every single Saturday because, I don't know, I like the thrill of it, like the fact that I care, that I've got something to kind of keep me excited every single weekend and with other videos in between, but this is really turning out to be a major highlight of my weekend, and I hope the same is true for you guys. Whatever I can be doing right now to be a bright spot in all of this mess that is just going on and on and on right now. First and foremost, before I get to any news, hope you are all well, hope you are all staying safe. We've got a lot to get to today. The first thing I want to tell you guys about is just some of the stuff that I've been working on for Collider.com. As much as I miss the studio, I've been doing some work on the website, some writing work that I'm really proud of, and I think there's a lot of stuff that you guys can enjoy over there. I ranked all the Jurassic Park movies, so please go check that out. And one of the newest things that seems to be gaining a little traction at the moment is a spoiler interview I did with the director of Vivarium. So if you've seen Vivarium, you might want answers to certain questions. I know I did, and I asked the director, Lorcan Finnegan, those questions. So head on over to Collider.com and check all that out. Actually, the first story that I want to talk about today is something that you could also go over to Collider.com and watch for yourself. In case you haven't seen it, this is a must-watch right now. David Sandberg, who of course directed Lights Out, he directed Shazam, he directed Annabelle Creation, which really turned around the Annabelle section of the Conjuring universe for me. He made a new short film while he was quarantining, and it's called Shadowed, and it's super short. I think it's under 3 minutes. It's 2 and change or something, and he made it with his wife and his collaborator, Lotta Loston, and it's just extremely well executed, well shot, and for such a short piece, for such a simple thing, it really is chilling and very effective. So please go check that out. I think it's well worth your time right now. Hello, everyone. I'm going to pop in the chat real quick just to say good morning to Steven, MK Songbird, Rick Zamoris. I'm glad to have you here for your very first live watch of the show. Neil, of course, Paul, Ed. Hey, Ed, how you doing? I hope you're staying safe. There's so many wonderful people here. Guys, I'm so happy to be spending my Saturday with you. All right, let's move on now to the headline of this particular episode, which is my review of Amazon's new series, Tales from the Loop. So the way that I'm reviewing this is a little unique, and the structure of the show is very unique too, because I was only given episodes 1, 4, and 6 to pre-screen, and I was given those episodes because I did a couple interviews for the show, one with showrunner Nathaniel Halpern, and another with one of the show's stars, Rebecca Hall, who is phenomenal and everything. But it's a very interesting way to review a show, and this isn't necessarily a show that takes place linearly. Basically, the premise here is it focuses on a bunch of characters who either work for or live around a facility called The Loop, and it's a facility that is kind of investigating and messing with time a little bit. So it's a really unique structure. So while I do understand why they only gave me episodes 1, 4, and 6, it was a little tough to formulate an opinion and to give you guys a standard review, because it was almost like I had no idea what the show was capable of as far as how the stories would progress for certain characters. So the first episode, for instance, it was a little slow for my taste, but then it started to ramp up, and by the end of it, yeah, I wanted to continue on and watch another episode. The problem was the next episode that I had access to was kind of a different story. And then the next one I had access to after that was a different story. But I will say, of episodes 1, 4, and 6, I think the visuals across the board are phenomenal, which does not surprise me whatsoever, given the artwork that the show is based on. The episode that stood out to me, though, was the 6th episode here, and that one starred the guy you see in the thumbnail for this live show. His name is, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Ado Asando, and he's phenomenal. He carries the entire episode, and of the ones I watched, I think that's the one that played the best as far as them all feeling like complete stories, but they're intended to be complete stories that fit into a bigger story that spans the entire season. So I can't say I was dying to jump back in after I watched the episodes I was able to screen, but after talking to showrunner Nathaniel Halpern, he does bring up certain ideas that I'm very excited to explore more, and after talking to him, it did make me want to jump back in and watch the rest of the show, so maybe I will do it. But, you know, his statements on, he was telling me basically that he finds that a lot of sci-fi right now isn't super hopeful, and that's what they're trying to achieve with this show, to be a source of hope and comfort, and who doesn't need that right now? So based on some of the things he said, I am inclined to jump back in and, you know, maybe give it another shot, or more of a shot, I should say. So I'll let you guys know if I wind up continuing with that. And if you guys have watched the show, let me know what you think of it. I'm very curious. Let me just take a peek at the chat before we move on. We also have Sophia here. Oh, a bunch of you guys can't get Amazon Prime right now, but I understand that. There's so many other streaming services too. I'm very curious to see what happens with the Quibi launch. I don't know if I know I asked some of you guys this already, but if any of you guys are signing up for Quibi, do let me know. I'm going to review a whole bunch of Quibi titles for Collider.com, and I am just generally curious if anyone is actually going to sign up for that new streaming service, given the fact that it is yet another streaming service that requires you to pay for it, but also given the fact that the format is so unique. All of the episodes that are going to be on Quibi are 6 to 8 minutes long, and I'm just wondering if a feature film can play that way, if TV style content is going to play well that way. Very curious to see how all that goes down. All right. Next thing I got here for you guys is, it's a big topic. It is the update of the Disney release calendar. So I've got the list right here, the full release calendar here. And in case you missed it, I did talk about this a little bit with Jeff Snyder over on Collider Video yesterday. So go check out that full video where we largely focused on the Marvel movies, but we also talked about a couple of other things. But just taking a look at the 2020 schedule at this moment. We do not know if this is going to change. We don't have all the answers yet, so there is a good chance, in my mind at least, that this will change, because right now they still have the movie Soul, which I'm very excited for, hitting theaters on June 19th, 2020. So while I am staying hopeful that this whole situation will be getting a lot better by then, even if it is completely cleared up and the stay-at-home orders are lifted, I do have a feeling that the fear of going back to a crowded place like a movie theater could hurt Soul's chances of making a lot of money at the box office. So it might be better off for them to push these dates back a little further. Mulan on July 24th, 2020, maybe that's a better bet right now. Or at least, hold on to that date right now and wait to move it again. After that, where do we go from there? The Kingsman is September 18th. I'm very much looking forward to that. We know the Searchlight film, French Dispatch, was pushed back to October 16th. Now here's this next one that I have my eye on, and it's going back to Marvel. Black Widow on November 6th. So the first or maybe the second weekend of November is a proven date for Marvel movies. There's a lot of Marvel movies, especially Marvel movies that aren't necessarily Avengers or team-up style movies, solo movies that have done very, very well on that date. Think Thor Ragnarok. You can also bring back Doctor Strange. Those movies did well. So I do have a feeling that this could be a good spot for Black Widow to make a good deal of money, assuming everything is up and running by then. Also, my prediction, and I did say this a little bit yesterday, my prediction is that we are not going to have a traditional summer blockbuster season. But maybe that hype can just be pushed back a little. And if that is the case, maybe Black Widow will kind of feel like a summer blockbuster in a sense, and maybe that could give it another boost as well. So I still have a lot of hope in that one. And then, looking at this December lineup here, they've got, and these are all actually 20th Century films. It's so hard not to say 20th Century Fox still. Free Guy, West Side Story, and a limited release for The Last Duel. That's a nice December lineup there. Going beyond into 2021, it's mainly the Marvel movies that I have my eye on still, because that's where most of the movement happened, at least. But I think it was a smart move for them just to kind of have a little bit of a ripple effect and move everything back a notch. Jeff had brought this up, so I'm giving him credit for this comment here. I didn't realize how good of a move this could be for Shang-Chi, which is now all of a sudden beginning of May release. That is a huge summer slot, and if we do go back to a traditional release calendar next year, that could be huge. That could mean Shang-Chi opens a lot bigger than it might have before. Another one that caught my eye here is Jungle Cruise. I believe that one had a December release for this year. It is now in the heart of summer of 2021, July 30th. That's another move that I think could work in its favor. It's so hopefully it will be so distant from what's going on right now, and I think it could do quite well. But there's a lot going on here. I'm going to fast forward to the bottom of this document I have in my hand, because what we've got here is a bunch of movies under the to be dated title here, and those 4 movies are The Woman in the Window, The New Mutants, The Personal History of David Copperfield, and Antlers. So what I think might happen here is most, if not all of these movies, are going to be released on a streaming service, whether it's Disney Plus or Hulu. Antlers, for example. Antlers can't go to Disney Plus, given the fact that they are trying to create a certain brand, a certain audience over there, and I don't think Antlers fits that type of content. Also, with Antlers, I have a feeling like it might be better off for the company to use that movie as content for streaming services that need it, because don't forget that production has also halted right now. So we're going to hit a point where they don't have new stuff to release anymore if this goes on as long as some are predicting. So a movie like Antlers could actually, I think, gain even more eyes on a streaming service right now when we're all in lockdown, rather than it hitting theaters. I can't remember the previous release date. I believe it was sometime in April, but hitting theaters where it has so many other movies to compete with. So I think Hulu might be a good place to drop Antlers, and I'm going to keep saying this. Just release New Mutants. Give me New Mutants. I will pay premium prices for New Mutants. I just want to see it at this point. And again, it's one of those movies where, if you're talking about Disney as a company, it came with the Fox deal. Like, it got the movie. You didn't pay to actually make the movie. So why don't you just make some money off of it, or give your streaming services a boost by putting it there, or release it like The Hunt or Invisible Man. Just release it for a premium, whether it's $20 or more. I will pay it. I don't know about all of you guys, but I certainly will pay it at this point. I just need to see this movie. So I have a feeling that these movies here are going to go to streaming services, and the only one I can vouch for here, if it does, and you're wondering if it's worth watching, is The Personal History of David Copperfield. Saw it at TIFF last year, and I liked it quite a bit. I like the style, I like the story, I like the performances. Keep an eye out for that one if they go that route for it. But, again, things are changing, and I'm going to keep an eye on this calendar here, and I will give you an update when we get anything new from Disney and other studios now as well. Let's hit the live chat, because we have a super chat from Steven. Thank you so much, Steven. He is saying, let's get these super chats going and help support Perri. P. Nemi, do you think Comic-Con will be moved to a new date or canceled this year? So, Stephen, as always, thank you for your support. I do really, really appreciate it, and it's a very good question to be asking right now. It's a little crazy to think back to the beginning of March. I feel like maybe I was being a little too selfish at that point, because I was heartbroken, like personally heartbroken by the fact that South by was canceled. It's one of my favorite events of the year, and I was pretty crushed when it was canceled. And leading up to the actual cancellation, I was going to go. I was going to try to get myself there no matter what, but looking back, that that was a silly thing, and the city of Austin did what they had to do. And now knowing how serious all of this is, I think July might be a little too early to get such a significant crowd in such a small place. So I do think that they are going to either cancel or delay San Diego Comic-Con 2020, and I think that's the right move, and I would be shocked if my opinion on that matter changed between now and July, because yes, I'm very hopeful that we will all work together and we will get past this. July feels too soon to me, though, so I think they are going to cancel, and to be completely honest, if they don't cancel, I will most certainly think twice about going, and at this point in time, I am expecting myself to take a pass if it is up and running. So that's my feelings on San Diego Comic-Con at the moment. Hey, Ed, you didn't have to do that, man. You're the best. Ed Douglas has a super chat right now. Ed is asking, I kind of want to know why there's a baritone sax sitting behind Perri, and want to know A, if she plays, and B, she might play a tune for us. So the reason there's a baritone saxophone behind me is because that is what I played in high school. When I was in middle school, that was the first opportunity that we had to move from orchestra to band. So I was playing the cello when I was in elementary school, and it was fine, but I wasn't loving it. But then I played the alto saxophone in middle school and completely fell for the instrument. That was my instrument. And then as we advanced in our band studies, we started to add in other instruments, more unique instruments that were needed, one of which was the baritone saxophone, and even though I am a tiny person, I like doing crazy things like that, so I became the band's baritone saxophone player, and I stuck with it all through high school, and I did play a little bit in college as well. I took some private lessons because I wasn't in the music program there, and I still have it. I own that Barry sax, and admittedly, I haven't played it in years. I don't know if I still remember how to play it, but I have been thinking about at least trying. My only problem is I think I would have to order some more reeds because that's the only thing that I'm missing. So you know what? That seems like the thing to be doing right now. Maybe I will order some reeds and at least give it a shot, and maybe after I try to play in private by myself for a little, I'll make a video for you guys, and we'll see how that goes. All right, let's hit one more super chat before... Oh, actually, Ian, you're too good. You read my mind. This is the perfect segue into something else I wanted to talk about. So Ian is asking, what do you think about South by Southwest going digital? I actually had that on my list on things to cover today, so I'm very glad that you brought it up, Ian. So what the deal is, based on the press release, is Amazon and South by Southwest are hosting something that they are calling Prime Video Presents the South by Southwest 2020 Film Festival Collection. What they're doing is, and I'm going to read this just to make sure I get all the details right, these two companies are teaming up and they're going to launch a free, completely free, not behind the paywall, so you don't have to be an Amazon subscriber to get this, a free online film festival that's going to be available for 10 days to everyone in the United States. So they don't have a launch date. Amazon is thinking late April for something like this, and apparently the filmmakers that would have had their movie screen at South by are able to choose to participate. So it's up to them. So I'm a little mixed on this because on the one hand, I think it's a very nice idea, and one of the best things about a film festival is that it gives up-and-coming filmmakers the opportunity to get their movies seen, because if you don't have studio backing or the backing of a big company or a famous face in your film, sometimes festivals are the only way to kind of get the buzz going and get your movie in front of eyes. And I think that having that opportunity completely taken away from a filmmaker is absolutely devastating, and maybe this will at the very least give them the opportunity to show what they've worked so hard on to a wide audience. That part of it is good. The part of it that concerns me is that after all this work, after all of this time and the money that they likely put into these films, what exactly are they getting for this? Because this piece did mention that they will be receiving a screening fee, but I want to know, what is that fee? What if these movies had played traditionally at the festival and it popped, and maybe they could have gotten a bigger deal and launched a career? Because the other thing with this is I hope this fee is substantial enough that if committing to streaming your film for free on the internet, where piracy is a problem, for 10 days, if doing that scares away possible distribution deals, I just want to make sure that these filmmakers are getting what they deserve for the opportunity. So, you know, it's hit or miss. We're not going to see big movies with distribution or big movies that could score a big distribution deal sign up for something like this. For those little movies, yep, it could be all you're getting at this point, in which case I'm glad they have this opportunity, but it's not an easy decision to make. So I hope that, you know, everybody's kind of weighing the pros and cons and making the best possible decision for them, and they are being paid fairly to be a part of something like this. But, you know, when this does happen, I'm going to watch, and I'll talk about as many of these movies as I possibly can to give them some additional promotion. I want to be here to support all these movies and all these filmmakers. So much going on right now. We gotta find the bright spots, guys. All right. How about this? Let's hit the live chat now. Drop in all of your questions, anything that you want to talk about regarding the topics discussed today, anything I missed in the news cycle that you guys want to know about. And while you guys do that, I am going to tell you that I feel a little tired right now for a very specific reason, because I was up very, very late last night recording videos with Matt Donato, and what we walked away with was basically 4 hours worth of footage. So that 4 hours worth of footage is, we recorded I don't know if I should be calling it either a watch along or a commentary of the entire first season of Brewers Brothers, which is coming to Netflix next week. So the two of us watched it together, went episode by episode, and gave you guys videos that you can watch along with if you choose to watch the show. And obviously, the show's called Brewers Brothers. It's about brothers running a brewery, and that meant we had to drink. So we drank a good deal of beer last night while watching it. I was telling Matt, I was texting him earlier, I got up this morning and I was just playing back the footage, which I think is even funnier when you're not watching what we were watching. It's just seeing our facial expressions change, and at least, you know, it got to me a little bit. My words were maybe slurring a little bit. I might have looked a little tired and out of it by the end, but it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And if you guys do want to jump in and watch that show, it's an 8-episode season with 30-minute episodes. I hope that'll make it even more fun for you guys. So I can't wait to start releasing that next week. All right, let's get into it. What do we have here? We got a whole bunch of comments. Oh, we got a question from MK Songbird. Random question, are you planning on doing a review, or have you done a review for either Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always or The Other Lamb? Happened to watch both yesterday. The Other Lamb actually has been on my list since TIFF last year. I believe that's where it premiered, and you guys know how we do film festivals at Collider. We have that interview studio, and at TIFF last year, I basically divided up all the interviews between me and Steve happened to have done that one, so I've just, after sitting there watching that interview, I've been meaning to watch the actual movie, so I will get to that one. I haven't reviewed Never Rarely, but I did get to see most of it, to be honest, at Sundance this year. So what winds up happening is I do so many interviews that I need to see so many movies, and unfortunately what happened with Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is that it was screening so close to another movie that I was supposed to see for an interview as well. So I think I saw 90% of the movie, and I will tell you, it was very difficult to peel myself out of that chair and go to that other movie, even though I did quite enjoy the other movie, which is Spree. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Spree with Joe Keery would be a great movie to release online right now. But anyway, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, the part I did watch, so this can't be taken as a full review because I didn't see the whole movie, which is why I didn't formally review it, but I thought it was outstanding. That is some very tough subject matter, and those are great performances there by Talia Ryder, and I'm going to look up the other star's name really quickly because she was phenomenal as well. I should remember all this. Eliza Hittman is the director, and the movie stars, why isn't this? Talia Ryder and Sydney Flanagan. Because they were also telling me during our interview that Sydney is a very talented artist as well, which I didn't know. And after our interview, I looked up some of her videos, and she's phenomenal. I can't believe some people are that talented, but she is definitely one of them. But the movie's great. If you are debating whether or not to watch it, I highly recommend watching it because, again, tough watch, but well worth your while. All right, we are bumping Steven back up to the top of the list because he is not... Oh, and Steven, you are too kind using these super chats just to say nice things. Just wanted to say thank you, Perri, for all you do. No one works harder than you. Keep it up, P-Nemi. I appreciate you saying that and for all your support, Steven. It really does mean a lot to me, especially right now, and I'm sure you guys are feeling it too. We have our good days, we have our bad days, but doing these kinds of videos for you and being able to do, in particular, the live stream and also the Patreon chats, things that I can do with you guys where we build community and we have conversation, that's really been some of my favorite stuff to do right now. And for all of you guys who signed up for the Slack tier of the Patreon campaign, I hope you're enjoying it so far. We're figuring it out, we're getting it going, but I want you guys to talk with each other. I want to chime in all the time, and it's just going to be a great community to talk about all the stuff that we're watching and all the stuff that we're looking forward to. And just in case you're wondering, this door over, did I point in the right? Yeah, that door back there is open because Master Dewey needs to be able to walk in and out of the room as he pleases. I wanted to make the background look a little prettier by having that closed, but that's not happening because I can't lock him out because what Dewey wants, Dewey gets. All right, what do we got here? A question from Bert Mills. What do you think about HBO's free streaming lineup? Have they released a specific free streaming lineup? Let me check that out. Free streaming. This should be pretty easy to find. I know there's a couple things that I'm looking forward to that are coming to HBO. 9 free streaming services. Ooh, all right. Free HBO. How to watch HBO for free. Huh. Okay. So in case I'm glad I'm actually talking about this. Thank you, Bert, for asking this question, because just in case you didn't know, HBO is offering certain things completely for free. Apparently, you could, get HBO Go or Now in the App Store or on Google Play, and the series that you'll have access to are Ballers, Barry, which is phenomenal, Silicon Valley, never finished it, but I was really liking it at the beginning, 6 Feet Under, one of the greatest series of all time, as is The Sopranos, Succession! This is the time to binge Succession. If you haven't yet, please go watch that. True Blood's available too. I would recommend what I enjoyed of that series, which was, I think I was really into 6 seasons of that show, and then 7 was a little bit of a drag to get through for me. Veep, I hear I need to get on Veep. We also have The Wire, which I hate admitting it. I don't think The Wire is bad by any means, but I did try to binge The Wire a while back. I mean, maybe I should revisit it because I'm in a different place, and maybe I'll appreciate it more for whatever reason, but the binge watch mentality never really kind of hooked me with The Wire for whatever reason. There's a bunch of documentaries. I see McMillions on the list, which I've been meaning to watch, and so many movies. Oh my. Blinded by the Light. That's a great option to watch right now for free. Wow, this is great. This is really great. I highly recommend doing this if you need some stuff to watch right now. Let's see what else we got. Rick Morris, I'm sorry, I didn't see Newsroom on the list here. Let me just do a quick. Yeah, I don't think it's on the list. Sorry, buddy. What do you think? This is from Steve Calderon. Good Steve, always supporting my stuff. I appreciate all your shares as always. Steve wants to know, what do you think about A Quiet Place 2's September 4th release? So this one's been, I think this is the one that might have hurt the most when it moved, because I believe this is one of the only movies that I was able to screen as press before the release and then had the release canceled. And I think this one hurt the most because, I really fell hard for it. They don't want us formally reviewing it just yet, but I did tell you guys I loved it in my social media reaction, which was fine. And I don't know, I'm so upset that I can't share in... I can't share how much I love that movie with you guys right now. So when that one was pushed back, I knew it was inevitable, but it was especially upsetting. That September release date, if things go semi back to normal or back to normal enough, that release date could be huge, because what that release date is the It and It Chapter 2 release date. The beginning of September completely changed as far as it being a hot box office spot because of the first It movie. So if this year follows that formula, and I know it's a tough thing to predict right now, but if it does, that could be huge for A Quiet Place 2, and I hope we're in good shape by then, because that movie deserves to be seen on the big screen with a packed house. It's so hard to say right now, a packed house, because you remember, you all saw the first one in the movie theater, and just remember what it was like having that communal experience where making noise is so terrifying, and they had such strong sound design, and every single time that sound went silent, you couldn't hear a thing in that movie. Like, everyone was afraid to breathe. I want us all to be able to have that again with this sequel. So, I hope it's a good spot. I hope it's a good spot for it. Let's see if I can squeeze in another question or two. I'm going to bring this up. Looks like Rix and MK Songbird are communicating about the movie Saint Maud. So, Saint Maud is another very special one that I saw at TIFF last year, and that's another one where I am so hardcore rooting for it to do well and to catch on. It's going to be an A24 release, and it is such an A24 title in the best possible way. Again, that is a movie with excellent performances. That I want to look up everyone's name here again on that one. So Saint Maud is directed by Rose Glass, and it is, I wasn't ready for it when I first watched it, but there are so many wonderful things about this movie. But the thing that really is, I would say, the core of it are the two performances, the lead performances, Jennifer Ely and Morfydd Clark. And I've been seeing Morfydd Clark all over the place. And what was the news that I last heard about her? She joined a big series. Oh, it was the Lord of the Rings series. But I only want good things for her because I think she's crazy talented. And I'm harping on her because she's a newer name. Jennifer Ely is great in everything I've ever seen her in. And the fact that we don't talk about her more, we need to be talking about Jennifer Ely more. It feels like, I don't know, she's not like the biggest household name when she's delivered time and time again, and just really deserves to be. But if you want to see two phenomenal actors going toe-to-toe in a really gripping, freaky movie, keep an eye out for Saint Maud. All right, last question here. I kind of answered this a little bit, but Mark Ruffin is saying, hey, Perri, what is your favorite Jurassic sequel? My pick is The Lost World, then Jurassic World. Yes, The Lost World, LOL. Cue the two T-Rexes. So, you know what, Mark? I agree with you. If anybody out there read my ranked list on Collider for the Jurassic Park movies, you know that The Lost World is my number 2. I love that movie so much, and I know that there are certain bits of it that, might get some eye rolls, particularly the gymnastics scene and all the stuff with the Rexes in San Diego, but I really do think that there are a lot of very, very well executed sequences in that movie. Hands down, my favorite thing in that movie, and this is going to come as no surprise given the fact that I am a horror movie lover, the raptor fields. I love that scene so much, but there's a whole bunch of other things that I love in that movie. All right, I'm going to do a quick scan, but I feel like I have to go because you know what I do? So my routine now on Saturdays is doing this live stream, and then right after here, I change and I get ready for the gym, and then I go downstairs and I do a gym class with my CrossFit gym people in LA, and they've been doing regular classes on Zoom, and it's been great, and I truly feel better when I start my day with one of those classes. So I'm very, very I really appreciate the time that they've put into making the most out of that type of classwork, because it's not an easy kind of thing to put together, and they've done it very well. And it's just, I love seeing their faces. It's the more of that, the better. The more gym classes I do, the more live streams I do, the more Zoom happy hours, just seeing my friends in LA and their face. It's different when you see their faces. I sit there and text them all day, but it's different to actually talk to someone face to face. And those types of things are a real safety blanket for me right now. Guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much again for joining this live stream. Please do know it's important to me to be able to do this, and it means the world to me to have you guys here supporting me. Oh, also, one other thing I meant to bring up earlier. So, when I flew back from LA, the priority as far as what went into my carry-on suitcase that I was bringing was bringing mostly Dewey's things. Then also I put in a couple of like food items that I knew I wasn't going to be able to get, and maybe like a couple rolls of toilet paper or things I was worried about. But that meant that I couldn't really bring any clothing with me. So most of the clothes that I'm going to be wearing for the next couple of weeks are going to be things that maybe I wore in high school or college. And I was in a sorority at NYU. I loved that sorority. I loved the people that I met in that sorority. So there's going to be a lot of AE5 shirts while I live stream with you guys. So this is one of them. There's many more to come. Stay tuned. I'm going to show them all off. Stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you soon.